Greetings brothers and welcome to another video, and today we're gonna be doing like a little bit of a tier list because sometimes people keep asking me of like certain YouTubers, what do I, the Nellop here, think about certain other YouTubers? So instead of just like telling you, I might as well just show you and make a video about it. Definitely nothing can go wrong with that, am I right? Like, what could go wrong of a YouTuber giving his opinion about other YouTubers? I can't go that wrong, shockingly, nah. I think the fans of other YouTube channels must be very logical and very self-aware to the point that, you know, they can understand where I'm coming from, right? Definitely. Like, there's no way they can be this childish and fucking whinging like a bitch or anything. Nah. We can't have that. Nah, yeah, that's not possible. Warhammer 40k, it has the most positive, friendliest community that I've ever seen. There's no way, nothing can go wrong, right? So anyways, we got a tier list here, so definitely not done by me. It's from a guy called Jev, no relation, and and as far as I'm aware, from he puts his images, alright, not too bad. Alright, we got some very recognizable people, so I might as well just go through it and let's start cooking. Now, there might be some YouTubers that I might have not seen in this list, but hey, look, I didn't make this list. Someone else did it for me, I guess, and then boom, there it is. So, let us begin. So, Lotara lore. Very boring. And not just boring, she tries to make it sound like it's cool. One of the good examples is the Lotara Sarin video, where she tries to say, hey, look, isn't it just badass? And then she tries to use a lot of emphasis on swearing. And, like, I don't fucking care about swearing, but it's just more of that. She tries to use swearing, like, it makes her, like, very intimidating and all that. And because of that, I am not very impressed, and she tries to show off more than actually just, you know, talk about the lore or, you know, the hobbies that she's really interested into, like, genuinely. So she tries too hard, so I would say C tier. Not bottom levels cringe, but it is a little bit cringe enough for me to be like, it's alright. Alright, the Outer Circle. So I already did a video a little bit on him. He's literally Australian, but like me, but he does like Horus Heresy shit. Nothing much I can comment about him. Like on one hand is like he's like against like GW. He's very like critiquing almost every single thing when it comes to Horus Heresy stuff. He's not too bad. Like he's one of those YouTube channels that will probably like play like Ziz music in the background while we're getting along, having a beer in the night. He's one of those people that I can get along with. So just for that, I'll put you on average on B. And until then, he's staying on B. Alright, we got Voldemort. The one with the deep voice is like, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. Obviously, it can be a little bit deeper than that. Voldemort, not bad. The way he wants to narrate the 40k lore stories and all that. There was one podcast that I saw him with 40k theories of his concerns about 40k lore, how the mystique goes away and all that. So he has kind of like a lot of doubts when it comes to the lore itself. Doesn't push any politics or anything like that. So he's like this ultimate YouTuber where it's like, doesn't talk about politics, doesn't even bother pushing politics, and only talks about the lore. So something that I can respect that, but there is one thing though. There is one thing. Warhammer 40k has no canon. Why are you pushing something that is irrelevant? It has no canon. Anyways, just for the sake of having a soft heart for this guy, I'll put him on A tier. Janovich. So, saw him in 2018, the whole fan animation that happened. If I recall, this was, oh dude, this is memories ago, holy fuck. If I recall, I think he was gonna do a Siege of Rax animation. But then, because of the whole controversy that happened, he didn't bother doing that. And then, skipping the time a little bit, just to fast forward a bit, he did like different types of animations about the lore and all that. I think he did his final like lore for the Siege of Rax series, which I don't find it's not bad. I like it. I enjoy it. Now, there is this thing that I've heavily criticized about this guy. He has this opinion of, like, until he just realized that he was too late. But in before that, he has this problem of, okay, we're going to fight against the big-ass company to fight the good fight in order to show that the real fans don't appreciate what Games Workshop is doing. With that, I'm just like, it's too late for that. You're fighting something that's already too late, and you should have done that when it happened back in 2020, and you would have seen the reality of Games Workshop. But I don't know what happened during that time. But for as far as I'm aware, he had this a little bit of naivety, so it kind of tones down a bit. But for the sake of this, I would have put him in S tier, but for the sake of this, he goes on A. So, Wolfro. So, I already did a video about him, and I've critiqued him about it, where he doesn't push a certain politics and all that, and he talks about it non-biased and all that. But at the same time, I had high suspicions that he's reading books deliberately and avoiding the politics that was written in the books, that is just showing that, hey, you know, there's a reason maybe the story is shit, because it was all about like a political push, not because it was meant to be like a good story, maybe. So I've already done a video about him, not about him specifically, but more of that in my, I think it was either in my NT Work or Woke video. It's either one of those, man. It's been a while. But I critiqued him of that, yeah, no, he should not be in a green list because he reads suspicious books, doesn't mention anything that, you know, that was kind of a little bit obvious where, okay, this story is shit, or the cover is just obviously a little bit more of a political push, because keep in mind, remember, Games Workshop deliberately and directly, blatantly said, we're going to diversify anything that we want. So it's not like, you know, I just pulled something out of my ass and just say, oh yeah, you know, there's women there. Ah yeah, of course, there's a problem. Icky. No, it's more of that, we know what Games Workshop wants and what they want to do, and from their actions, from their actions that connects to their statement, it makes sense. You look at the root cause, and you can just grab examples that is the case. That's what's happening here. So with Wolfro, yeah, I'm not a big fan of him. Like I used to watch him and all that, just more like passively, but now I'm just like, nah. So for that, C tier, or else I would have done worse. So a Border Prince. Honestly, I have nothing to critique about this guy. I know some others might critique him because he had a quote-unquote association with Arch Warhammer. But to be fair, from what his content does in Warhammer 40k, is essentially just doing voice acting and just raids, the source material and all that. That's all. The only thing that is sad about him is more of that he had to remove so much of his content from YouTube. So any of his videos are no longer there, but just a little thing. If you want to see, I might have found some of his, like not 100% of his content, but some of his content that are on his Rumble account. So, you know, so if you think you want to grab some videos or just watch them, and before maybe a Border Prince might delete them as well, so you might as well go on that. But overall, and before he deleted his videos, I had the chance to see them. They're not too bad. He's just there, voice acting. Nothing political at whatsoever. So you know what? For the sake of it, I'll just put him A tier. Look, I gotta have to make S tier hard, right? I gotta have to make it hard. Like S tier, it should not be easy, right? It must be challenging. God gave you the greatest challenges, right? And you have to fight them. You don't just lay back and do nothing. Adept is ridiculous. Now, before the whole femme stories and all that shit happened, I enjoyed it a little bit for their entertainment. But then again, this is all the start at the beginning. It's like, at the beginning, you know, you think they're just fine, and then the more you learn about them, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. It's one of these situations. Adept is ridiculous. At the start, it seemed like a passionate, like, podcast and all that, where they kind of liked the lore, they wanted to get in. But the thing is, they tried to, use the memes a little bit too heavily. They're trying to use it like it's holding Atlas moment. So they heavily rely too much on memes instead of just explaining the lore to you, you know? It's like, okay, Conrad Kurz, he must be related to some psycho or whatever. Or, you know, bring up memes about, like, headless Ferris Manus, you know? That's what they always try to do so much, but at the same time, they do tend to... how do I say this? Bricky tends to be very arrogant. Like, he just dismisses some lore out of the way. And it's like, yeah, this one, oh yeah, it's just irrelevant. Yeah, that's it. Or another time with the Femstodes controversy, he tries to brush it off like it was nothing in his podcast, where he was like, oh yeah, that, yeah, I'm so sad that my audience are like this. I'm like, really? So, remember, the Adeptus Ridiculous podcast is, I will say to a certain extent, a little bit popular because of Bricky. And it wasn't because of Shy, it wasn't the other one that is forgettable, how he, like, that little fuck forgets about 40k lore easily. So, it gives me another thing of, okay, they don't care about the lore. Because if they really cared about the lore, they would remember this shit. But afterwards, now you will see, like, later on, if you watch, like, Adeptus Ridiculous from start to later, they tend to not give a shit anymore. They just, every week, one video per week, and just do it. Yeah, fuck it, whatever. Right? So it's less about passion. It's just more of that, yeah, fuck it, we're just balling. So for me, I was like, okay, they seemed interesting until the more you learn about them, it's just, yeah, no, we're good. Especially with the Femstodes controversy, that hit the spot. Hellstorm Wargaming. Fuck. Immediately D tier. Like, I cannot, like, the annoyance, the agitation, all that shit, like, I can't compress that shit to translate that to you of how soy the fucker is. Like, I cannot tell you of how soy he is. Like, okay, one of them is the thumbnails. Obviously, you know, you see how soy that begins. And then when he gives his opinion, like, about certain topics or certain controversies that happens, I'm pretty sure, if I recall, he's, you know, full on about Femstodes. And then I remember one of his 3D printing series, he, like, 3D prints something, and at the same time, he just buys the Warhammer Age of Sigmar models at the same time, and is like, yeah, it's not that bad, but we'll prefer this, you know, as in, like, buy the models and all that. So it was a little bit cringe. Instantly D tier. Okay, I've known this YouTuber. I didn't look too deeply about it, just watched it a bit, not too bad. I was like, oh, cool, fair enough. Some person from Bulgaria, I'm assuming. I've known her because of, she did an interview with Gamza. I had to watch one of her videos because Bricky unlisted one of his videos about the Femstodes, and then some other topics that I watched as well. And at the same time, though, I cannot, agree that she uses a platform called OnlyFans that is popularly known for a certain thing when you have other third-party platforms, Patreon, Ko-Fi, and so much more. But she uses OnlyFans in order to teach people about, you know, certain topics. Not like NSFW shit, but more like SFW. So she tries to coach people and all that. That's the whole thing. But people, like, simple people, are just gonna look at that and just gonna say, nah, we're good. Like, they're not gonna hear what you're gonna say. But why? Because the platform is bad. I do not like the platform. Why do you go on that platform when there's other platforms? I don't accept this excuse of, oh, you know, I just built my platform. No. You got Patreon, you got Ko-Fi, you got other platforms that are way more better and less fucking traumatizing than OnlyFans. So, on one hand, I'm like, okay, she speaks against GW, good, and she does all the other stuff that I'm saying that's good. Good. It's just that platform, I'm just like, no. So I'm a little bit heavy on that. Like, unlike Gamza just sat back on the interview and just poked her holes at her and just let her ramble and all that. For me, I'm just like, destroy them all. Heal the child. Overall, she ain't too bad. It's just a little nitpick of me just to say, ugh, you picking a platform called OnlyFans? Cringe. But for that, I'll say B tier. So, Aurelia Temporis. How do I say this in the most positive, happily ever after way? Way too simple, bland, boring, and it's just a reaction channel, more or less. It's just like, oh, I am just this fancy female custodian, and that is also a VTuber that I can attract the audience that have a parasocial connection with me. That won't be a problem, right? And also, she had like a fucking wish list. It was so fucking weird. I went through that fucking video, the dangers of VTubers in 40k, and I was just fucking shit posting all that. That was beautiful for me. But at the same time, I can see why people might get into that, and it's very fucking weird. But I don't see there's any contribution other than, oh, look at me, I can just, make some money and, just say that I'm really interested in 40k. In reality, you're not. You have a higher chance of possibility that you're not into 40k. And you're just doing it for the sake of, oh, the audience is interested into it and it's mainstream and people are talking about it. Because keep in mind, what happens if 40k is no longer relevant? Will she just continue making 40k stuff, or will she just stop and be like, yeah, see ya, I'm gonna go do something else? Keep that in mind. Always be skeptical of things. Always be skeptical. So for that, just to piss off the VTuber audience a little bit, D tier. Mr. Bones, cringe. Cringe. I saw his existence and I immediately ash babied, and I'm like, what the fuck is this gay shit? Did this guy just got some estrogen in himself, and speak like a retard? Oh, this is what vaccination does to people. Alright, let's see how it goes. So for that, D tier. So the Templin Institute, okay. So his lore videos are very sketchy, and sometimes he kind of deliberately just, just make shit up sometimes. And also, he's very pro-female Space Marines as well. So that speaks a lot. I don't recall if he's spoken much about the female custodians, but I do know mostly it was the female Space Marines that he spoke about. Like how it's more possible to make female Space Marines. It's not that bad, right? And then the Pontius stepped in and he's like, no. He just walked in Kratos style and he's like, no. Now, one time I have to relate in Italian with someone who's Greek. What a weird combination. But for that, I'll say he's not reliable when it comes to the lore. He's mostly pushing in a political agenda. So, D tier. Okay, so I've talked about the Adeptus Ridiculous. Now, we're going to talk about directly about Bricky. So, Bricky himself, I don't know why he's so dismissive about 7th edition. I know that 7th edition was bad because it was cluttered and complicated and all that shit. But at the same time, most of the time he's just like, oh, this is the guy who started with the whole meme shenanigans. And he was the one who introduced the VTubers into the 40k space. Which, in my opinion, it will just fucking ruin it more. It's like collecting more fucking wasp into a beehive hive nest. It's just not gonna look so good. So, not only he introduced VTubers and all that causes a lot more problems, and I've yet to see a single VTuber to be like, oh yeah, see, fair enough, I see your point and all that, and then just go back and forth. But no, most of them are emotional, illogical retards. And they can't put 2 to 2 together. Like, they think the circle goes in the square hole. It's one of those people. That's what he brought in. Like, vaccinated looking motherfuckers that just came to the hobby and is like, yeah, memes guys, funny, haha, So he over-relies too much on memes. He also talked about the fem studies topic. To a certain extent, I can agree with certain things with him. It's like, oh, it wasn't a big deal before, and now you guys are complaining? We're such a bitches, But at the same time, it deducts a couple of points because he unlisted the video like a bitch, and I have it downloaded. So, you aren't escaping from me, Bricky. I know where you live. Actually, let me do it with an Elmo voice. I know where you live. So, not only he contributes in the ridiculous, memes, VTubers, and the film studies topic, it just builds up a little bit more of how him is just being dismissive, arrogant, and he's just like, yeah, fuck it, might as well, just for the funnies. I wish I had another tier, but he's going D tier for now. Varrock! Glorious! Glorious, man! Ah, yes! The biggest simp! Oh, no, sorry. The glorious simp! I'm gonna keep doing that now. Ah, glorious! So, with this guy right here, honestly, I would say, this is stupid. So, Varrock is one of those people who introduced me about Imperial Fist, but this was the time that I did not know much about 40k. So, obviously, I tried to look around as much as possible. Look, dude, I'm just gonna tell you this. When I started 40k, where do I even start who I watched? That's a bad fucking start. Some people are lucky that had good people like Gamza, but for me, woo, where do I start? Obviously, later on, it's just, redirecting my path. I chose by destiny. But with Varrock, to a certain extent, I can see he's passionate, and I can see that he wants to enjoy the hobby. He likes, doing 40k stuff, wants to do it with fans. He's one of those people that doesn't want to talk about politics when he's doing, a certain stream. He wants to go do work, go home, fuck around with friends, and that's it. He's one of those types of people, fair enough. But because you're in a YouTube community 40k space, it's not like that, man. I know what he's going for, but it's not like that. And at the same time, he talks about certain topics, and he says he doesn't care, but talks about it anyways. And even with the Fem Studies topic, man, you should have seen his Discord. Ooh boy, it was something. Oh my god. Like, anybody that talked about the Fem Studies, instant ban, delete, because it's too controversial and too dramatic for Varrock. So, and remember, this is a guy that apparently he said that he got blacklisted from GW, and that should have given him a direct answer of, we don't want you, but he still comes back and sucks his dick because he is a simp. That's what me and Smogan talked about when he was on his live stream. But at the same time, I think it's more of that. It's like this. I have a suspicion that he's getting paid by GW by pretending to be a simp, but I can't really confirm that. So, simp is a more plausible thing that he is than him being paid by GW. Because he softballs criticism, he always gives this shrug-off thing, even like with a pay rise of GW, where they're like, he's just like, oh, okay, I see how it is. There's a price rise, it sucks, whatever. He's one of those motherfuckers that I did on my Warhammer 40k is no longer Grimdark video. So, it's a bit of a mixed thing. Like, as much as I enjoyed that he's like a guy who's passionate into 40k and just wants to play tabletop and all that, but at the same time, he's one of those people that tries to play along to get along. He is not one of those people that he will be honest with you. He's like one of those friends, right? If it's one of those friends that, that plays along to get along, and let's just say you have a mental illness. Wow, what a topic. Let's just say you had someone, or your friend had a mental illness, or you had a mental illness. The ones who play along to get along, they're not there to tell you the truth. They're not there to tell you how it is. They're just there just to be like, oh, of course, you're right. Everything is fine, because they're trying to they think they're making you comfortable. But in reality of things, they're making it worse. You don't treat the sickness by playing along to get along. You treat the sickness by going to fucking therapy or getting medicine. Shit like that. So for that, when it comes to Varrock, damn. He would have been easily D tier. Actually, you know what? I was gonna say, oh yeah, I'm gonna put him C tier, but then I changed my mind that this motherfucker, many times he said he's gonna go do exercise, and he knows what to do when he goes and exercises. But this motherfucker is still fat as fuck, and it has the big beer belly. So nope, D tier. Lose some fucking weight, you little bitch. So Lila Mev, the mini witch, very interesting channel. You look at her and you're like, damn, this is what a crazy feminist would look like with 10 cats. I already did a video on her, and no. And if I recall correctly, it was more of that she is a little bit pro-fem studies. I could be wrong on that because I'm recording this on the first go. But when I looked over her channel, I was like, yeah, I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan. She just did like a fem studies thing. Nah, cringe. So, and even her thumbnails is just a little bit dramatic, but I get it. YouTube being YouTube, you have to make it dramatic so people can click on it and all that. But YouTube has changed their algorithm where clickbaits are kind of like the death of things. So, but that's a different story for another time. So, I would say she is D tier. Huh, it's Vegeta. Huh. And then something just snapped. Mean. S tier. Damn, that looks almost like a Jeff fucking profile picture. Thank you, Jeff. S tier already for making this fucking tier list. So, where's Hammer? Where's Hammer? Now, everybody knows to a certain extent with Wes Hammer, and those who don't, I'll make this a very simple list. He's just a guy who just makes shit up. He tries to overfluff the lore in order to make it more entertaining. So he focuses more on entertainment, that is interesting, than being accurate to the lore itself. That's what Wes Hammer is. And if I recall, he took influence from Major Kill, and then he just took that and ran away with it. Because I remember Major Kill had a little beef between Wes Hammer and all that. So that's all I know about him. For me, he's not that type of YouTube channel that I would watch, but at the same time, because he's quote-unquote inaccurate with the YouTube lore and all that, I'm just like, quing. But then again, Warhammer 40k is no canon, so why are you making something out of nothing? Crazy. So, D tier. Just for the sake of the easement of everybody, D tier. They're openly saying they're admittedly just pushing for a political agenda. Or just, they are in a certain team. So, I'm just like, cringe. So, immediately D tier. There is one YouTuber that I did forget. Dana Howe. So, there was one thing that this guy called Jeff forgot to put in. And it's called Dana Howe. I would now if I can just fucking grab the image and just shove it here, or I just edit it, or just fucking video edit it, and just put it there. D tier. The person is very political, and not only that, they are not what they are. I would say how do I explain this? They swap teams. They shapeshift. Nothing to say about that. Oh, it's this guy, Christian Von. He's alright. Actually, you know what? C. Alright, so I'll explain more than just me shit posting where I just be like, oh yeah, his long name. So I can tell he tries to be passionate and all that. He tries to be like, oh, how's it going, everybody? But at the same time, it's so low energy. It is so low energy. It's like almost he half-assed his voice, and he's like, yeah, I'm almost there, and didn't try. Like, he didn't even fucking pull off the whole thing about, you can do it, Yugi, with the power of friendship, anything is possible. Have that fucking energy in your voice. But nah, he's just like, well, Well, hello everybody, and today we're going to be talking about... Actually, you know what? You know what's a good comparison with Christian? Just go and look at, like, how to become a 40k YouTuber. That is the fucking video. That is the exact same energy that I did at 4 a.m. in the morning. So, there's nothing about him pushing on anything political or anything, even though he's a VTuber, but there are exceptions by putting a gun to his head. But at the same time, when it comes to his content, from what I've seen, he's just so fucking boring. He's like Ospec Tactics, but a VTuber. That's what he is. Holy fuck, what a nice comparison. Ah, fuck. Okay, no Ospec Tactics here. Damn, Jev, I'm disappointed in you. Alright, now I have to video edit this again, like, okay, Ospec Tactics, fuck, damn, what a shit fucking title. What a shit fucking list. So, Ospec Tactics, where do I even put him, actually? Now, I could be wrong, I could be eating my words. As far as I'm aware, the last time that I checked him for a long while, he was mainly focusing on tabletop shit, like meta stuff and only. So he was kind of like, yeah, it's there, cool. He's like a boring Google search that you just go and Google it, and it's like, oh yeah, he's there, cool, yay, cool, he's there. So for him, I would say C. So he can be comparable with Christian. Now, if I'm, like, keep in mind, if I'm even bothered to fucking edit this right now. But if I put it, I'll put it there, and then it will just disappear on my video editing, because why not? Alright. Endymion. So, even though he's not a 40k YouTuber, but he does talk about 40k topics that he thinks that he knows about 40k, because culture war shit. Shocking, I know. So, the problem with this man is that he pretends to be a 40k fan, and he thinks he knows 40k and all that, and then he just keeps shoving like a fucking... But he keeps trying to push like this whole, like, you know, the culture war and stuff, doesn't give much solutions and all that. I did a whole fucking video about, you know, the dangers of grifters in 40k, and Endymion is one of the most popular ones compared to others. But when it comes to this, I'm like, yeah, I'm very heavily critical about him. And you should see his thumbnails. Every time he does like a 40k topic, he puts fucking Henry Cavill, man. I swear. I fucking swear. Arch Warhammer. Okay. I do understand. I'll make this very fucking clear for people, because I know some people were kind of like, you know, understandably critiquing me on this on my anti-woke video. Fair enough. Now, remember, keep this in mind, I am mainly focusing on Arch Warhammer's like channel in isolation. So I know that what's going on in the Archcast, I know what he says, I know what he does, so I know the what the fuck you talking about. I understand that. Now, again, I'll say this in isolation. This is just specifically about him talking about 40k topics, as in like he's doing like a lore channel and all that. So, I'm gonna critique him on Arch Warhammer's channel. So, what is the issue with him? Not the issue. So, what's up with him? So, this is one of the reasons that I kind of left Arch Warhammer a while ago. This is just like recovering my memories moments, and it's that more of that people were just more like warning about Arch Warhammer, not because he was like trying to push a political message or he was trying to do anything sketchy. The problem with Arch Warhammer, and I kind of noticed this in the a studies video that he did, specifically about like how studies are running. So the way he explained it is that studies, the way they run, it's almost like hopping, almost. Which, that makes zero fucking sense. I still, to this day, I do not know where the fuck did he get this idea. This is one of the examples. So the problem with Arch Warhammer, when it comes to him making 40k lore and all that, the problem with it is, he makes shit up. He just makes shit up. And so, like, if you don't pay attention, you won't realize this. If you do pay attention, you just sit there, you're like, okay, I've never heard of this. Where the fuck do you get this from? So, with that, I'm just like, ooh, that's not good. So when it comes to Arch Warhammer, it's almost like reconfirming my suspicions about this guy. And also, for some fucking reason, he's doing the Siege of Rax again. Like, man, can you not? So there are some, look, there's some videos that are okay, but most of the time, from what I've noticed so far, he just makes shit up. Which that makes it concerning compared to his, like, Archcast and all that. So for that, I would say D tier. And I expect fucking Arch Warhammer fans on the comments now just fucking bitching about me like, Arch is not in D tier. He's the greatest fucking 40k YouTube lore channel and all that. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I did fucking 40k lore like years ago, and I still cited my sources. I still talked about what I know, what I'm talking about, right? I didn't speak it out of my ass. Arch Warhammer here just fucking said shit like I'm just like, where the fuck do you get this idea from? One of the examples again is somehow a study's just running. Or he was saying that, you know, the statue is somehow related to the Golden Men. Even though that's not what the Golden Men is, it was essentially a signature of humanity. But then again, this guy apparently reads Wikipedia and still reads it wrong like a retard. Anyways, D tier, to the bottom, filth, powder. Yeah, I'm gonna keep doing that now. Like, at first, it was unintentional because I was like, how the fuck do I pronounce that? And now it's just... because it goes like P in der. So, I don't know. Anyways. So, this one... very fucking naive. Now, I know some people look at my demeanor and think I'm saying this out of hatred. Let me clarify this. I don't say this out of hatred. I'm just saying how it is. This is why I tell people, listen to what I say, not how I say it. Because, why? People are fucking emotional. They think emotionally because they're fucking stupid. Now, that one was deliberately mean. Good. I hope it hurts. I hope it burns. I hope your emotions gets riled up to the point that you wanna fucking get a pitchfork and go to the comment section of under my video and say how much you hate me. And just for the sake of that, tell me how much you hate me in the comments. And give it a dislike. And unsubscribe to the channel, might as well. Yeah, fuck it, might as well. Fuck with bowling. So with Powder, as I commented before, she seems okay. She seems natural speaking and all that. She seems to be interested into the 40k lore. She's very new to it. But she seems interested. Now, there are some people who are like, Nellop, Powder's watching about the Demonculaba and all that. And I'm like, I could watch that. I could react to that. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna do something else. And then if I'm really generous, I'll just walk in and be like, all right, sit back, bitch. Let me tell you about the Demonculaba. One of my favorite stories. No relation to the thing. So, she's not bad, but sometimes it's one of those things where you're just a little bit suspicious about them because I'm like, why are you here? You know? So on one hand, I'm like, okay, she seems promising. She's one of the exceptions than the others. But at the same time, though, since she seems to be interested in 40k stuff, fine. Okay, cool. Doesn't stop me to point a finger at people and be like, oh, you into 40k? You little bitch. Anyways, so for that, she's not A tier. She's very new. So I would say B. She's fine. Whoa! 3rd edition? Crazy! Oh, man, JF, I love you, man. Holy shit. Kiss me on my hot mouth. None in the gay way. 3rd edition? Crazy! S tier, man. I love 3rd edition. Honestly, I played a couple of games. And it is, okay, as funny as this, as stupid as it sounds, it is ironically way more simple than from 8th edition and after. It's weird. It's, I don't know, maybe I'm just processing information much quicker and I can understand it better. Maybe it could be that, because I was playing like 1,000 to 2,000 point armies, And I was like, oh yeah, I got this. Done. All right, bang, 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 bang. Me could be that. But I really enjoy that it was just much more compact, simplified, and just easy to go. It's like, okay, yep, boom, done. It's just weird. Yeah, anyways. So, Weasley Pillar, he's not much of a 40k channel, but he does talk about 40k topics to a certain extent. I think he stopped doing culture war stuff, which is understandable because culture war is dumb. But at the same time, my heavy critique about this man that I did in my anti-woke video, I'm just like, he should not be on the list. Why is this motherfucker here that shows his whole collection and tries to say that, oh, you know, I support GW, I don't support GW. And even shows evidently in that video as well that showing him that how naive he is, that he thinks that, you know, Trench Crusade, that somehow will just avoid politics, even though where they clearly stated that, you know, these Discord guys, they're our friends. They're our friends. They can just push politics if all they want. So no problem. So he has a problem with naivety, and he's showing his collection like he has like some addiction problem. So even if he tries to critique something, but he will still buy the products, unironically, out of addiction, not out of, you know, just something like logical and all that. So I would say D tier. Oh, the Pontius. I can't believe he's here. Like, what the fuck is he doing in this list? This dirty Italian coming around and keeps DMing me in my Discord about spaghetti and all that. He's like, yo, check out this AI-generated spaghetti shit. And even Will Smith is eating it. It's so cool, man. And somehow he was trying to tell me that somehow he can genetically, like, shapeshift himself, that whenever he gets dandruff, it comes out like Parmesan cheese. So he will just scratch his head on top of the pasta and just, you know, lay all the cheese around it. It's just insane. Like, man's a fucking weirdo. I can't believe he's still around here. But, shitposting aside, from what he does and what his commitment is, I can honestly respect that. And I give him much more respect that he just came to the Discord and he's like, hey, yo, what's up, fuckers? And, you know, and we actually spoke together and all that. So, not only he, you know, does what he does, which I can respect him, but also is one of those motherfuckers, like, compared to other fucking 40k YouTubers that has walked up and said, hello. Isn't that so hard? So with that, when it comes to the Pontius, not only he just, you know, became a friend, but also I can respect of his 40k content of what he does. So with that, S tier. S tier. Right? All of you motherfuckers below it, look at this pure example of someone who knows how to touch grass and still reads 3 books in a day. I'm just saying he's fucking insane. So, Lewitton. Again, this is one of those times back in 8th edition, I was completely new, trying to figure out things around and all that. Whatever. Now I know a little bit better. I do not know exactly when I got this habit of looking at YouTube channels. They try to say things that don't sound right, and I started looking into fucking books. So, it wasn't from Lewitton, it was from someone else, but after I kept doing that to a certain extent, I saw more and more when it comes to Lewitton, he was a little bit of a horseshit. Partly was because of his Warhammer 40k is no canon. He is correct on that, but for a completely different reason. And he even states that, oh, it's good that he doesn't have canon, you know? Authors can write whatever they want, the readers can read whatever they want, so it's all happy-go-lucky kind of thing, because it just doesn't matter. So that's his stance on that. And when it came to another controversy like the Femstodes, he was like, he was being a bitch. He was trying to please everybody. Excuse me. He was trying to please everybody around, and he was trying to do this small quote from Alan Bly that was so vague that is like, oh, there was a possibility to make female custodians and all that, and I'm just like, really? You even stated that, you know, there was, you know, the custodians are only men, and then you just wanted to drag this out of your ass from one source that you deliberately said you don't only rely on one fucking source? So partly it's a little bit of a contradiction, but at the same time, it's like, okay, You know, he used to be cool, and then later on, it's just something changed, and then he just played like a bitch. He's not as bad as the other YouTubers, but I will give him a C. Because on one hand, when he still did like 40k stuff, he reads books and all that. But at the same time, you're staying below. Major kill. To a certain extent, no different than fucking Warhammer. How do I say this? So there's this controversy of him giving steroids, and he excuses them that it's peptides. How do I say this as well? If you go to his Patreon, it's nothing but NSFW shit that he promotes, which is fucking gay. So not only he's a degenerate, not only that, you know, he also makes the lore up, he's more of a YouTube channel that tries to play along to get along, to please everybody around, because whenever he might critique something, he has to back it down and just make it like an apology of some sort. So he's one of those YouTube channels. And I like he tries to be an Australian every time that, you know, every time he's like making a lore video, it's like, oh, this is a lore video about explaining by Australian. And meanwhile, I'm sitting here as Australian where I'm just like, oh, really? That's not, you're not fucking special, dickhead. You're not that special. So for that, I can't recall anything else. So that goes in D tier. So, Killer. As far as I've noticed for the moment, there isn't much about him on political stuff. There's nothing in the social, like in the socials and all that. He seems fine. He just walks in, talks about the lore that he enjoys. There's nothing I can talk about him, really. Unless there's some controversy and then he tries to step in and is like, this is what I think about. And then he just goes and just changes the tier list completely. But for now, I would say average. I mean, it's alright. Overrated as fuck, in my opinion. 40k theories. Okay, so 40k theories. Is a little bit of a mixed bag. Because on one hand, he interviews people who have like a certain political push and all that. He interviews VTubers, cringe, and then he just, and has sometimes a little bit of questionable art design. But again, when it comes to his video format and all that, it's average at best, but I would say a little bit boring. At first, I was like interested. I was like, oh, that's cool. I was more interested about the topic than the YouTuber itself. So from that, I was like, cool. And then once I took my own legs and then did my own homework and all that, it was the way I saw 40k theories. I'm like, I don't want to play with you anymore, and just threw him out. He's one of those people. So despite of him interviewing certain people of a certain political agenda, but at the same time, he's one of those people where he's just like, I'm fucked, man. What else am I meant to do? He's like, hey, I have that feeling that's what he is. But I haven't seen him directly, you know, putting pronouns or doing any other political push or anything. So for the sake of being nice, he's on C. Unless I see something else, then I have to change my tier. I have to make a post and be like, yeah, boys, time to change the tier. One Man Syndicate. What is there to say about his guy? This guy was just shitposted to death about him saying 101 with the Wikipedia and the lore. And he made so many videos, man. It was just insane. So instantly, shit tier. Gamza. Even though he changed his fucking profile for the 4th time during my existence and all that shit. But when it comes to Gamza, now I understand how people are not a big fan of him, or, you know, just him having like some sort of like certain jokes and all that. I don't really mind. I enjoy the guy. And do you know what's even shocking? I even talk to him like a normal human being. How fucking shocking. He can talk to people like how you talk to people in real life when you touch grass. Oh, then again, most of you people who are online are just chronically online. So, you know, it's really hard to connect, you know, when I'm touching grass and you just, you know, touch a more plastic keyboard on your fucking desk. But when it comes to Gamza, his versus videos, it's fine. It's fine. I was more interested into his 3D printing and when he was doing streams and all that, because then again, with Then again, with his streams, it was much more engaging for me because I was able to not just relate, but more of like engage in the conversation. This is how I see streams. Streams are one of those things where you participate in a group and you just talk about it. That's what I see when it comes to streams like that. That's how I see it. But when it comes to Gamza himself, I enjoy him. Obviously, it's not as much as I'm not a big fan of his types of versus videos. That's why I don't do much versus videos. I only talk about it when I think it's very fun to talk about. But for him, it's kind of like his staple. Everybody knows him by doing such things. So, yeah. He came back for a bit, and then he's just going to disappear for a bit because he's still working on his project. So, all goodies, all goodies. I'm going to put him S tier. Oh, actually, you know what? He's A tier. He's A tier. Alright? No, I'm fucking with you. S tier. I enjoy the guy. I understand some people are like, he just does Reddit shit. I don't like him. He sounds like a dick. Yeah. It's not like he self-admittedly understands and self-aware, unlike you bitch, where he's like, yeah, I think I'm a bit of a dick sometimes, It's just how he is. Like, can you really blame someone who's like that? Especially when he does, like, tongue-in-cheek jokes all the time? Where do you think I got some of his fucking ideas? It's not like we spoke together and gave me his suggestions. It's not like he gave me the keys to his fucking kingdom so I can go take buttermilk Bob or anything. No. I just never talked to him specifically on his Discord and his Discord channel. Nah. It's not like I'm his mod or anything like that. No. You guys are insane. I'm just an ordinary guy. Fucking dumbasses. Midwinter Minis, more like mid-minis. How do I say this when it comes to it? When it comes to painting models, they're fine. That's alright, that's cool. But for some odd reason, he was doing this experimental thing where he's just showing like the good and the bad about 40k and all that. So that's a little bit suspicious. But the one thing that nails about him is him talking about how if you play a certain faction in bolt action tabletop, that if you play the Axis, that you're a certain demographic. Like, he literally pulled the extra credits scene. You're sitting on your couch, you're playing a video game, and suddenly, you're a Nazi. You didn't ask for this. You didn't choose this. He literally pulled that off. But more of, like, directly blaming you of, if you play this, you're this. But then again, he's very openly, like, I know people hate this word, but hey, well, whatever. Fuck it, we're bowling. He's a wokey. He's an open wokey that doesn't like fucking 40k as it is. And that's why he made that statement in bold action and all that. So when it comes to that, he pushes more of a political agenda and is very suspicious. But I'm curious to see what he's got to do with his little experiment, you could say. So I'm curious on that. I'll see what he does on that. Alright, let's go on the next one. Oh, Gamza! Damn, how did he get into this fucking tier list? Looks like me and Jeff have a very similar taste. How surprising. Anyways, so, for him, immediately A tier. He's like Gamza, but better. It has a better chin, makes better videos, and it has a bigger subscriber count. He's just better at everything. It's... Immediately S tier. And I'm gonna put Gamza on the bottom, so Gamza can be on the top, where he rightfully deserves to be. Anyways, I'm gonna put it back up. Kirioth. So openly, he says he's gay. He openly pushes like a political agenda, and he just talks about certain topics and all that. And he participates in the Adeptus Ridiculous podcast. Do I need to say any more than that? D tier. So, Matara Khan. So, as I stated in the dangers of VTubers in 40k. So, as far as I'm aware, with this person right here, it's more of that. It's a little bit suspicious that she's friends with Bricky. There could be multiple reasons why she's friends with him and all that. And maybe she just agrees with him the way, of his stance. Female custody should be a thing and all that. I do not know. I have not seen any direct messaging from her. She's just like, she exists. She just existed, and she just, you know, does 40k shit. But at the same time, though, that doesn't stop me to make fun of her voice that sounds like Marge from Simpsons. I'll crumble with you, sweetie. Hello, everybody. Do you know how I got these claws? Oh, man, I love that shitpost so much. But overall, I'm not gonna give a B, but I'll give it a C. Just because it's not that she, like, I have not seen her directly agrees with Bricky, but I have a feeling that, you know, they're just good friends and then just get along with it. And that's why I can't say much. Noxtaku, what is he doing here? Well, if you notice that he makes fucking 40k content, and apparently he reads most of the shittiest books that I've ever seen in my life, where I'm just like, why the fuck are you reading that? He's like, how do I explain this? So he's like eating vegan food, and I just have to slap his fucking plate out of the way and be like, boof, just throw him a T-bone steak fully cooked, and I'll be like, bitch, that is real shit. He's one of those people. So I don't. So all he does is just reaction content. He's like, wow, it's so amazing, cool, you know, just like any other fucking VTuber that exists in this fucking premise. That's all it. So just for that, I'll say C tier. So you read shit books, and I'm just not a fan. That's all I'm saying, guys. Please do not decapitate me. Rundle. Never heard this person. It was like she just watched one of Nellop's videos, and all she did was mocked and had zero fucking argument. That's crazy, absolutely, and all that. And she just did some 40k reaction videos. That's all she did. She just did reacts. She sat there like a lazy bitch, and apparently she's Australian, so she sounds like a Velma with zero personality. And you know what show I'm talking about. And I would not be surprised, behind that VTuber model, it's probably some fat bitch that is about like 130 kilos, like a 4 foot tall little stubby little compressed image looking ass. I wouldn't be surprised. But at the same time, it's either that, or it's gonna be one of those like nerds with 2 teeth coming out like a fucking rabbit. Anyways, so for the sake of this, D tier. And now, if I was able to have more tiers like, the Void, she will go in the Void. Huh, interesting. Nellop, this guy. Such a very difficult guy, you know? You know, I just cannot get along with his demeanor. I just don't like his attitude. He swears too much. He's not really Christian. He swears way too much for me. He said hell, and I couldn't just take care of that. I couldn't deal with that, really. And because all I hear from him, from his videos, is that, you know, he's just a whiny, petulant child that doesn't know what he's talking about. He's a complete SJW, like an absolute retard. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's an absolute tourist, grifter, and all that shit, right? So, I don't know why people like him, and his thumbnails are just so rage-baity, it's so misleading, you know? And I have to go to the comments and just tell her that it's a rage bait, or just, you know, saying anything else that doesn't even relate to his video. It's so cringe. I don't like him at all. Absolute petulant child, and for that, S tier. Oh, shit. I love it. So, now the final one. Because it's almost an hour recording. Crazy, I know. So, an hour recording. And, my final one. We'll put one more on this one, ladies and gentlemen. Asmogan. So, how do I put this? So, he touches more grass than me and any of you. And of the 99.999% of audience that I have right here. So, the man knows what he's doing. So he does 40k content. He used to do 40k content. He pursues to do his project, and he's going full on now since he doesn't have to do like 40k and all that shit. And sometimes he will talk about like 40k stuff on the side if he needs to, or it's very important and all that. But honestly, I enjoyed a little bit of his streams. I enjoyed it, like his videos. Then again, that was just me starting to watch him after he reacted to my video. And then again, I had to watch a little bit of his videos before I said things and I know what I'm talking about and all that. But then again, as I said, I had to pull this BS of, you know, I watched this video, but at the same time, let me pretend to be the 40k audience that only argues with the title and thumbnail. That's the whole shtick. But honestly, I can respect the man. He even joined in my Discord and then he dipped later on. And that's fine. People just come and go. That's fine. And he just came over, said hi, we had a conversation, and I thought it was fucking neat. So for that, I can give him massive respect for what he does and what he do. And I cannot say anything else about it other than just telling him, I'm just like, S tier, absolute. Perfect, S tier, boys. Well, look at this. If I had the other two images like Aspect Tactics and Done It How, this is a complete fucking project right here. I'm just gonna save it and download for my own thing. Yippee! Anyways, that is my list. Now all of you can shut the fuck up and stop asking me questions about certain fucking YouTubers. Then again, you gotta do that anyways. But also, if you hate me, write that in the comments and tell me what you think about. And also, give me a dislike and an unsubscribe as well. But at the same time, though, this is what I think about. Obviously, there might be some other people that I've never heard about, and I have to do research on them. But it's not one of those times that I can do that, or I have the availability to do that. So, this is what I generally think about. This is my list. There'll probably be more. There'll probably be people that I might have forgot. I mean, Jeff might have forgot. Who knows? But there's your tier list. Okay, you can now fuck off. I don't want to hear any more of this fucking, you know. I don't want to hear of this. What do you think of this YouTuber? What do you think of this YouTuber? Get the fuck out of my face before I snap your neck like a twig. Evolution looking failure looking ass. And that is all for this video. You can check me on my donations, my socials, and thank you so much for watching. And I will see you on the next one. Goodbye, my brothers, and take care. Rise up!